first meeting with him was on the training ground. I did a few laps with him before the training started. He wasn't officially taken over or anything. He was just, but I didn't know who he was. And I went down the toilet, and this guy come down, stood next to me, said to me, "How old are your son?" I said, 16. He said, "Ah, you're a big lad." And then I went out and did a couple of laps, and then I saw like Chris coming in and Ian and I run over the pitch, and Eli, the groundsman, came over to me and he said, "You're so cold." And I said, "Why?" He said, "That's the new manager, Bill Shankly," and that was the first time I ever met him.
My first meeting with the boss was in a dressing room at Motherwell, where I'd just finished playing a game and I had put in a transfer request to Company England, wanted to come to England.
I think, obviously...
The manager came in and said, "Just you hang on," he said, "somebody here to see you." No, I didn't know who that person was, so the lads all leave, I've got showered and left, and I'm sitting there on my own, and then he walked. Well, very smart dresser, he was always a smart dresser, boss, So a dynamic man came in. "Hello, son," which we learned over the years, his opening line, "Hello, son, Bill Shankly, Liverpool Football Club. I'm going to take you to Liverpool."
Managed to get money to buy players.
I never knew about that. So we have an amazing conversation about he's going to pick me up tomorrow morning and take me down to Liverpool. So that was my first meeting with him. I didn't know the boss. I learned about him. Once I'd met him, I learned about him when I talked to people in England. And everybody had a good word about him, as a player, as a guy, a Scottish international player. So, I realised that this guy was a genuine fella.
I was a bit in awe of him because I first met him I was on a weekly newspaper, the Bootle Times, and I was very much in awe of him. I was a young junior reporter who used to write the sport, and this was by then it was the early 60s, he'd established himself.
In his first week I bumped into him, started asking me, what my routine, and in the end he knew my name. He said, "Oh, you beat Chris Lawler." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I train 2 nights a week with the amateurs, work all day, So he said, "Tomorrow morning you're training with the professionals. I'll have a word with the groundsman." So as soon as he came, it was a big change for me,
I was an amateur training 2 nights a week and serving my time as a central heating engineer. And obviously he saw me playing the junior sides and then asked me would I sign professional. And I said, "Well, I've got an apprenticeship and you'd have to come down and see me mum and dad." So, which he did do. Came down to the tenements where I lived, and he came down in his big car and parked outside, and it was a Ford Corsair, I think it was, and all the kids gathered round, Bill Shankly. Yeah, and that's how it all started, really. Yeah, so then obviously I did sign pro. Yeah, it was the best thing I ever did.
The ground at Anfield was in a mess. The training ground was even worse, I could gradually see him changing things up, from Anfield to Melwood, even to the players' kit, training kit, because that was a mess as well,
He showed up and showed interest, which was a real boost. I'd been there 2 years under Phil Taylor, and hardly ever saw Phil Taylor at all. Certainly not taking part in the sessions, And the whole training changed from mostly running and exercise to doing everything with the ball, almost everything with the ball, apart from the warm-ups, but then it was just brilliant. It was thoroughly enjoyable.
It was just a total revolution. The ground was crumbling, the training ground wasn't good enough, the team wasn't good enough, and he changed all that. They already had Melwood, but he made sure that it was brought up to the training standard.
Mr. Shankly arrived, and I quickly sort of played in the reserves, and I didn't play too many games for the reserves. Next minute I knew it was coming to the end of a season in 1960, and next minute I knew I was in the team.
I've got to tell you, not only just Motherwell, but most clubs, training was running around the pitch or up and down terrace. You know, it's nonsense, absolute nonsense. I mean, it was fitness work, but that was it. But there was no ball. So when I get to Liverpool, the pitches were lovely, and the goal, you know, pitches all over, goals everywhere, and bags of balls, and that was everything was done with a ball at Liverpool.
The original sweat box was filled with sand and had a board at one end with all pieces of wood on. You got in, kick, had to keep kicking, you know, all the time. It was, I enjoyed them after a while, not immediately.
For me, it was like Christmas. Being a kid. What is this? You know, compared, as I say, to what I left up in Scotland.
At the end of the day, I love training, you know. I mean, I used to pinch myself every day going to Melwood and to Anfield and, you know, training with the lads. I mean, it's just a fantastic life, you know. You get paid for being a professional footballer.
John Moores played a significant part in what he did because he put a guy called Eric Sawyer, who was Littlewood's financial director, into Liverpool, and he established this rapport with Shankly, because when Shanks came there was a board meeting minute that said we will not sign players for more than £12,000, and of course the players he wanted to sign cost a lot more than that. But Eric Sawyer, when he arrived, he said, "Mr. Shankly, if you find the players, I will find the money." And when he wanted to sign St John, one director stood up and said, "Gentlemen, we can't afford to sign him at £35,000. And little Eric Sawyer, only a little man, stood up and says, "Gentlemen, we can't afford not to sign him." And that was the start of the revolution between him and Shanks that made Liverpool really what they are now.